Yo, what is going on, everybody? Tanner Phifer here, host of the NFLRums podcast. Welcome back, you guys. Wow, already over 200 people watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Here with the popular X account, NFLRums. What's up, man?
Hey, doing great, man. Doing great. Glad to be with you again for their second episode. Very excited about what the off season's bringing. A lot of news happened already. You know, a lot of trade rumors that we're hearing around, and just a lot of NFL news.
For sure.
Yeah, make sure, guys, that tune in tonight, and make sure you follow my guy Tanner too. He's doing a lot of updates throughout the league. He's got over 70,000 followers on Instagram, and me and him's been doing some collaborations there on IG. So we definitely appreciate that. Tuning in there if you have an Instagram account.
And if you guys are listening right now, I did comment below this tweet the link to our Apple podcast. It's on all platforms, but you guys can check it out there as well. And this will be uploaded after we're done here. But yeah, thank you so much for the shout out there. We got a lot to talk about. First, I'm going to start with our Super Bowl reactions, and then we're going to move into our free agency takes, of course, because this is an NFL podcast.
Yeah, the Super Bowl was really great. I feel a lot of different things happening there. The Chiefs really was very disappointing game. Patrick Mahomes is getting a lot of slack right now. One of the things we talked about, I know a lot of accounts are talking about, is all the salary cap situations with the Chiefs. And but one of the big things that, like we was talking about today, that we brought you on the tweet is they do have the ability to move some of that around.
Like
right, Mahomes and some of those guys, over $50 million that they can move around into bonuses. So, they're not as bad as some are portraying right now. And but yeah, the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts did great. Like Cooper DeJean did a really awesome job as well. So very, very happy to see that happen. I mean, anytime somebody's going for a three-peat, I'll be honest, I'm kind of like rooting for the other team. It's not that I don't like the Chiefs, I do. But, I just think that, the Eagles, definitely glad to see them win one there. And happy about it, happy for Saquon Barkley.
And let's be honest, like, the Eagles were, the Eagles outcoached the Chiefs, outplayed, outdisciplined. It was all around just they just destroyed the Chiefs, and it was wonderful to see, in my opinion. But
right, and some of we'll jump right into that. They got two big free agents out there, right? They got Zach Bond, who's getting a lot of interest already. A lot of people talking about all the teams that can sign him.
I can tell you right now, the only way the Eagles let Bond go is if, obviously his market is increasing by the day. So, they would have to really match another offer or be the first ones to offer him something. But there's no way they don't try to bring him back.
Right, and they only got 28 days to do that.
Right. And I want to say thank you guys so much. Sorry to interrupt you, but we got almost 800 people watching live right now. So that is insane. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button, subscribe to our podcast down below.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you all for sure. So we have 20, we have 28 days where they can sign Bond. Josh Sweat is another big free agent. He said he's going to be particular about where he goes, but he will command a big salary wherever he goes. So that is one of the big ones. Another one we'll move right into, Myles Garrett coming out on a podcast saying he'll do whatever it takes to make it happen, a move to a contender.
Imagine not wanting to play in Cleveland so badly that you're willing to restructure your contract just to get out of there. Yeah. What a losing franchise they've been, dude.
And looking at this right now, when we look at the salary cap economics, looking at that, and me and Tanner talk about it all the time. He's like, dude, how come you're so good on this salary cap stuff, right? And we be going through that, and with the salary cap, the Myles Garrett's base is already down to 1.4 is his base right now. So they can't move any money from Myles Garrett to add free agency salary cap pool, because that's already been done. So Myles Garrett would have to come in and negotiate maybe a contract, a different kind of contract where they could move some money around, possibly. Hey, Uncle Mercy.
Hello, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yep.
Since you're talking about Myles Garrett, Miguel actually has a question about that.
Yeah. So do you hear about the Bears getting into the top pass rushers? I think it's not out of the question for the Bears for sure. I would definitely keep looking. I know he's not a top one, but I would say Chase Young might be somebody to watch, possibly because Dennis Allen's coming over to be the DC, and Chase Young was actually in his defense last year. I could say that he could be a possibility there, but yeah, like Myles Garrett has a better potential now to be moved if Cleveland wants to. It's Cleveland right now. Cleveland's not saying budging off of them, right? But Max Crosby said he thinks the Raiders are in a better position than they've ever been. So it seems like he's, getting pretty secure there to have another season with the Raiders. It seems like that's the way that's going, unless something goes awry. But looking at all those pass rushers, when you're looking at that, maybe Bosa, that could be an opportunity for Chicago, because Bosa has a huge cap number, Tanner. Huge cap number, like 20 million plus that they could get off the books.
Yeah.
So
he's been kind of rumored to be out of there to me the last 2 seasons, anyways.
Yeah, I look for the Niners to be really interested in Bosa. The reason why is like this is an opportunity for him and his brother to get together.
Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, one on each end.
Yeah, I think that would be really smart there. Don't count out the Saints. They just got Brandon Staley. Don't count out Khalil Mack maybe there, right? Khalil Mack follows him everywhere, right? If you look at his career, like he's played at 3 different places that Brandon Staley's been. Yeah. So that is an interesting move. I mean, the difference is the Chargers want Khalil Mack back. So, and the difference is if they lose both guys, Mack and Bosa, they're going to really have to make a big move in free agency if they end up losing both of those guys.
And I was going to say, for Joey Bosa, don't count out. I could even see possibly the Rams if you want to keep them in California.
The Bengals, maybe. If he wants
Bengals, as well. Because, I mean, if they don't re-sign Trey Hendrickson, they're going to want to replace him. But I don't see them not. That's just a whole nother conversation, honestly, if the Bengals can re-sign all of those guys.
Exactly. T. Higgins came out. We'll jump into T. Higgins. He actually came out and said that the Bengals is the team that he wanted to go to, right? I mean, that was what he said. He wanted to actually go play for the Bengals, right? Another season. But it wasn't up to him, right? He said it wasn't up to him. It was up to them. That tells me that you have told the Bengals what you want, what it will take to get you there. Oh, yeah, Myles Garrett in a Charlotte airport today. Very interesting, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. And, while we're talking about T. Higgins, something we mentioned last episode is we see T. Higgins as a potential fit in North Carolina as well.
Yeah, definitely. T. Higgins, we talked to Panther there. I talked to him at least last night plus last week that this is a possibility there that T. Higgins get close to playing at home. So I think there are a lot of teams that's going to be on T. Higgins, just not Carolina. Multiple teams. I think you could even talk about the Titans to go back to get with Callahan. He wants the money, even though he wants to stay with the Bengals. And I have to admit that I really do believe that he's got an itch to be the number 1A instead of the 1B. You know what I mean? I think that would be something to really look at there.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to be the number 1 guy?
Exactly. Devontae Adams, it seems that he wants the Jets to release him from everything we hear, and he wants to go to a West Coast team, which will be the 49ers, the Chargers, or the Rams. The 49ers and Rams will have openings, and the Chargers have had an opening all year, like last year pretty much. Besides Lab McConkey, he was really the guy there. They had a little bit of trouble at the wide receiver production.
Oh, for sure. Ladd was a huge addition. I mean, if they didn't have Ladd McConkey, they would have had next to no production from receivers at all.
100%, Tanner. I think Devontae came out and said that he would be open to play for the 49ers if he was released by the Jets. Mm-hmm. It seems, you got to look where he played his football at, right? Like when you got to look at Devontae there, he actually played there with Derek Carr, right? Really close to where the 49ers and some of those teams are playing. So it makes a lot of sense that he might want to go there and try to get a ring, and he wants to go to a contender. And honestly, Matthew Stafford, though, if he gets moved, there's a lot of rumors around Stafford. The Giants is the big rumor. They signed his brother-in-law as a coach. So there's a big rumors. If the Rams restart, I don't think Devontae will want to go there if they didn't have a legit quarterback.
No,
they're going to throw out there.
Think of this, guys. Let's just go over this scenario real quick. It's definitely a hypothetical. Stafford, Giants, who fills in the quarterback spot for the Rams? What do you think of Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I think Kirk Cousins has got a lot of options for a lot of teams. I like the Browns as the top option, but just because the Falcons are eating a lot of his money, they wouldn't have to pay him very much. I really like that. The Jets have been rumored with them in the last 24 hours as a possible fit. I got a great question for you, Tanner. How do you get Devontae Adams to want to stay in New York?
You don't. I think you bring back Aaron Rodgers as the only incentive to keep him in New York. He didn't even... the only reason he wanted the trade to New York was to play with Rodgers.
There's one other person that might be available that he might consider staying in New York for.
Let's see. Who else would be in New York?
Derek Carr. Because
if he's released by the Saints.
Did you let me tell you what we put out today, and a lot of people can check it on our pinned tweet. Derek Carr, if they do a June 1st release, which each team's got a couple that they can use, right? Post June 1st release, they would free up over $40 million, pretty much 30 to 40 million in cap space.
I don't. To me, if the Jets, quarterback wise, if they go veteran. If the Steelers don't keep Fields, I see Fields as a number one choice there.
Yeah, the Steelers, I think that they're going to go hard for Fields, but one of the things that there's a lot of teams rumored around him right now, the Saints are rumored with him. You're looking at, the Jets, like you said, they were a team rumored around them. I think you have to look at all the teams that would need a quarterback, with the Rams being interested if they moved away from Matthew Stafford, right?
Uncle Mercy says Rodgers needs to retire.
That's what one of the Steelers said last night too.
Yeah, he did. I forget who it was, but he said you need to keep his butt in the retirement home.
Yep. Yeah, so he ain't feeling that the Aaron Rodgers connection to the Steelers. The reason Aaron Rodgers has got a connection to the Steelers is because of the quarterback situation and the betting favorite. This is not like a linked favorite. The betting favorite of Aaron Rodgers is the Steelers. The betting favorite right now, to a lot of people, are looking like the Commanders have been a top betting favorite for Deebo Samuel, right? And it makes a lot of sense. So that one does, because Adam Peters was in San Francisco with John Lynch. He knows Deebo Samuel well, and that gives them another weapon to throw into the mix with Jaden Daniels. I think that would be a very smart move if the Commanders could work that trade out, getting Deebo in there. And then the Niners might come back with that and replace him with Devontae Adams.
Yep. Or what about T. Higgins to the Commanders?
Yeah, T. Higgins, I definitely think. But you know what I think about the Commanders? I know that Terry McLaurin, he's doing everything there. But if he leaves the team, I have to feel that T. Higgins is going to leave because he wants to be a 1A somewhere, right? He wants to be a 1A, and Terry McLaurin will kind of make him 1A, 1A minus, right? Uncle Mercy said Jackson Dart still a first-round pick. Man, he's gained a lot of steam in a lot of areas. I'll be honest. Jackson Dart is getting a lot of love in a lot of areas. The Giants is the most linked team to him, but that will be interesting. So think about what Malik Neighbors said, Tanner. He said that he thinks that the Giants need a veteran quarterback and a rookie quarterback.
And yeah, that's the thing is like it's hard to also predict rumors when you've got a whole NFL draft ahead of us still, and you got to think about all the rookies. And the Giants have, one of the top picks, so why trade for Stafford, or maybe trade for Stafford and draft, a young quarterback, which is likely going to happen. I don't know about trading for a veteran. They might sign a veteran free agency. I don't know. There's so many options, and they're all intriguing. But the thing is, here with rumors, guys, here with NFL rumors, he's so good at finding these old connections between players and teams and coaches. It all makes sense.
Yeah, one of the big ones that we seen today, or last night, excuse me, was Shadir Sanders is getting his first visit with the Browns. So that's very interesting. And his dad was kind of like, nah. This process, right?
But he does have pre-draft visits set up with the Browns and someone else, right? Is it the Giants?
I think he does have pre-draft, but he's going to Cleveland first. Makes a lot of sense. There are a lot of teams that will visit, just the way it works. That doesn't mean that's where they're going. They're just going to visit a lot of places. And there are some people that don't visit to lay smoke in the draft, even though that's still going to be their pick. They don't go in there and visit for that reason. Especially like a second round pick or something of that nature. But like looking at that, like it's going to be an interesting kind of like the quarterback musical chairs we seen last season. I think we're about to see that again, right? With Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford possibly, Justin Fields. We're going to see a lot of moves.
Sam Darnold even? Did you say Sam Darnold yet?
Not Sam Darnold yet, but it's a good point. Sam Darnold's links are always all to the Raiders at the moment.
Yeah, that's like, 6 quarterbacks right there? 5 or 6 quarterbacks that we're talking about that could potentially be starting.
Right.
That can be competing for starting jobs.
Yeah, and looking at things like when they go through the evaluation process, like when Pete Carroll's going through this and Chip Kelly is going through all their evaluation process, he's got a lot of links on USC. Like Pete Carroll knows a lot of people at USC. He's probably right now hammering that down to get with some of those coaches that worked with Sam Darnold, and looking at that situation. Because, Pete being there at USC probably got tons of connections there. So, definitely be interesting and plausible that Sam Darnold could go to the Raiders. I think Tom Brady is going to land a quarterback.
I think Tom Brady might try to recruit Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, I think that could be a possibility. Yep, I mean,
think about it. Nobody knows Rodgers better than, I feel like one of his top competitors. They only met a handful of times throughout their career, but you got to know that they stayed in touch somehow, right?
Right. Devontae Adams will be a very sour puss, right? If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Raiders.
Oh, that's a good point, though. Yeah, because he's like, I ain't going back to Vegas.
Yeah, he just left. He loves the Raiders. That was his childhood team. But it's very unlikely he'll go back there, right, after being traded from there. It seems like he wants to go to those teams that we previously talked about.
He's going to be, 32? He's going to want... And Rodgers, too, if he plays another year, he wants a ring. You cannot go to a rebuild team like the Jets again. You had to know that was going to be a disaster.
Yeah, totally. Totally. That Jets, I think he thought Aaron Rodgers was going to push him over the top. But, we're yet to see either with the Jets if Garrett Wilson will ask for a trade. There's a lot of speculation that Wilson will ask for a trade, right? And, maybe what the Jets are trying to do is clean some house so that they can try to retain Garrett Wilson. So
yeah, and I saw Sauce Gardner actually retweeted something today speculating about a trade from... Let's see. It was somebody said trade Sauce to the Falcons for Kirk Cousins and a package deal. And then Sauce retweeted it and said something like, no, or I don't know.
Yeah, he likes the Jets. I think he likes it there. He likes playing for the Jets. He's in line to get a big contract, honestly, this offseason if they want to make that move. But yeah, he's going to be one of their key pieces of retaining there. When you look at that, I think DJ Reed, he's one of the other free agents. He's like the unsung hero who's really put up some big numbers. Early on, I hear the 49ers are going to target him and, as somebody that they want.
I think so too. Good points. Always good points. Have we talked about a free agent to be yet? And it was Dre Greenlaw. Did we talk about him yet? I think we talked about him before we started recording.
Right. We talked about, I love talking football. I mean, we even talked about football before the show. Dre Greenlaw, a lot of people thought the 49ers were locked down to sign him, that they was going to use a lot of their cap to try to sign Dre Greenlaw. Come out today that he possibly would prefer being a number one linebacker somewhere, because he's kind of like moving out of position to play with Fred Warner right now. So, the Arkansas linebacker, it would get a lot of love in free agency. He had that injury, but still will get a lot of love from teams the way he can control things. Now, I think the 49ers want him back. It's not that the Niners don't want him back. It's going to be seeing if Dre Greenlaw wants to go on to other pastures and see what he can do. He might, Tanner, test free agency, talk to a few teams, and decide to come back. Right?
But let's say this real quick. You guys need to pay attention right now, because we have a hot prediction for Dre Greenlaw. You guys, I'm from Arkansas. He was a beast here in Arkansas. I knew he would be great in the NFL. A lot of Arkansas guys in the offseason go to Houston or Dallas, Fort Worth area to train. And we have a former connection with this defensive coordinator, DeMeco Ryans, with the Houston Texans. We can see Dre Greenlaw playing for Houston. What do you think?
Definitely. I think he would be an automatic fit in there. He would definitely be an automatic fit. He's already got one of the 49ers backers there. But to add Dre Greenlaw, I think would even be huge to put him as part of his defense. I think that would be very big. He would be a big piece of that puzzle for sure. And want to throw some rumors out about the great Steeler, Kenny Pickett. He's an Eagle now. But he's expected to generate some interest with the Rams as maybe a quarterback to develop, and the Saints, where Kellen Moore just went to the Saints. There's a lot of rumors that Kenny Pickett could be an option there. And Kenny Pickett, his first year, I mean, it wasn't terrible or anything, right? And they just had struggles there when he was with Pittsburgh. But Kenny Pickett, New Orleans, Kellen Moore giving him that Eagle offense, the keys, maybe getting some weapons in there for the Saints. So it'll be very interesting there.
I think that's very likely because Kenny Pickett, like we said, Kellen Moore, his former offensive coordinator here with the Eagles, obviously going to have a huge connection there. And Derek Carr likely over in New Orleans. Kenny Pickett's way younger, still has some ceiling, still has a lot of potential, probably. I could see them taking a gamble on Pickett, especially as kind of a no-name quarterback, Like, you got all these veterans that they might be trying to trade for or sign a free agency. They're going to have a lot of competition. A guy that they could probably swoop in and grab would be like Justin Fields, Kenny Pickett, They could probably swing that.
Right. Another one of the big free agents we'll talk about real quick is Stephon Diggs. He's not reportedly a fit to go back to the Texans. A lot of people has him linked to the Cowboys. Yep. Makes a lot of sense. His brother's there. Trayvon Diggs, they've been wanting to play together for quite a while. And, we hear that he likes that Texas area. So Stephon Diggs, to the Cowboys gives him at this point, Diggs is a number 2. Let's just be real, right? He's not a number 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So, we're looking at CeeDee Lamb, Diggs. That will be a really good 1-2 punch.
Uncle Mercy says Kenny Pickett will be out of the league in the next 2 years.
Possible,
could. But you know what?
Anything can happen.
Kenny Pickett has taken more snaps in a Super Bowl than Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. So,
man,
he's got some Super Bowl reps on him now.
Oh yeah, I just seen the Steelers tweets went crazy on Super Bowl night when Kenny Pickett went in the game. It was like Super Bowl quarterback Kenny Pickett is in the game.
What a funk.
Yeah, and he's going to win a ring.
And I want to give
and
a
he
big...
threw one pass, I think.
He gets a ring. Yep. Kenny Pickett, you Steelers fans, Kenny Pickett's getting a ring before the whole team of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's hilarious.
Tell Uncle Mercy where you live right now, Tanner. That's not a mistake. But
hang on, shout out real quick. We got 2,200 people watching us live.
Awesome.
Huge, dude.
Great. We're really appreciative for every single one of you to take your time and spend it with us. To give you your NFL content today. It's really cool. Really cool thing. We love doing it for you, doing the homework for you, for sure. One of the things I'll say, when you're looking at other free agents, I want to talk about Chris Godwin. Really Chris quick. Godwin. Chris Godwin, he's one of the biggest wide receiver free agents. When you're looking at that, Chris Godwin has links to Jacksonville. Makes a lot of sense with Liam Cohen. He's also got links with the Raiders. Now, that link with the Raiders is pretty tight because you got to remember, Tanner, Tom Brady played with Chris Godwin. Right?
That's true. They won a Super Bowl together.
Right. So, he could actually give him that security blanket that he wants. And Chris Godwin might not want to just go and play for a franchise tag, I'm hearing, right? He might want to go get a multi-year deal that protects him from an injury. Right?
Yeah, especially coming off of an injury.
Definitely. So the Raiders could definitely be a team that could be interesting. And a lot of people, I think, because the Raiders made this really good pick at tight end, that is a really good appealing thing. The Raiders have the second most cap space in the NFL as well. But you're also looking at that tight end. That's going to open up some things, not only for your tight end, but for your wide receivers. All they have to do is get him a quarterback that can get those guys the ball.
Not to mention they have one of the best, if not the best tight end in football right now, Brock Bowers, after a magnificent rookie season.
Yeah. Last year when me and Tanner had our talks and everything good, the biggest thing that we went over is who was going to be the best player in the draft. Number one, always for me, was Brock Bowers. You can go and get the receipts. Right, but Brock Bowers was number one player in the draft. That was who you looked at as the number one player in the draft last year. And I think it's hard to argue that he's not. Right? I mean, it's not hard to argue. I know Jaden Daniels was amazing. Right? I know Bo Nix was amazing. Right? But like Brock Bowers, I mean, we got a guy breaking tight end records. Not rookie records. Tight end records.
Yeah.
Right. That's different. That's different when you're talking about like breaking a rookie record, you're breaking a tight end record. Right. And Travis Kelce, who I know's got a lot of love and hate, just the way it is. But he said Brock Bowers has the potential to be better than him. Right. So, Travis Kelce's giving his. Yeah. So Travis Kelce, a lot of these big time tight ends are giving all the love up, right? Like what Brock Bowers will be able to do. Think of that Georgia team right now, Tanner. They had actually Brock Bowers on the field, Ladd McConkey, and the Rams quarterback who's riding some bench right now, Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett, what, for the Rams?
Yeah, Stetson Bennett's he's on the Rams roster. The quarterback of that team that had McConkey there and also definitely had their wide receiver there, Ladd McConkey, and they had Brock Bowers there. Right, so
and George Pickens at some point, but that was probably maybe a couple years before.
Yeah, and you're talking about like Brock. You're talking about Stetson Bennett. He has some off the field things, but you got to look at what this guy can do. And the Ravens offensive coordinator was actually the offensive coordinator of that team. Tanner.
Yeah, he was. Yep, and he just got extended as well.
Right, definitely.
The Ravens OC.
Yeah, so I really thought that Ravens OC might slip in Monken. I thought he might slip in a head coaching job just because of what he was able to do with the Ravens, which was the biggest offensive production per yard since the Greatest Show on Turf with Kurt Warner.
Mm-hmm.
So that says a lot. He's really developed Lamar because Lamar's Lamar, right? Lamar's great. But, he's actually turned Lamar to stay in the pocket a little bit more, right? And throw those balls. And I think he really helped him get to a whole different level this year.
Yeah, and I think he did. But do you think if the Rams do move on from Stafford, you think Bennett's the guy? Stetson?
I don't think so. I don't think he's proved enough to be the guy, right? You know, and a lot of people speculate Daniel Jones.
They did have Darnell Washington as well.
Yeah, they could end up being a possible fit there, Daniel Jones. But it seems like Daniel Jones is going to end up in Minnesota. You're right, that because Minnesota actually gave up a pick to come and bring him from the Giants, which would end up turning into a third-round pick. So I don't think they're so big to give up that third-round pick. So they'll probably end up signing Daniel Jones, and he will probably back up J.J. McCarthy. Right? I thought I'd look for that. Or if McCarthy's not ready, then you can put Daniel Jones in. I think that's the reason he went to Minnesota, because this wasn't just a one-year thing. This was a multi-year thing for Daniel Jones. You know, I really do believe that. But we still got free agency to see. You know, that all that to happen. I mean, there's a lot of good things going on in free agency. I mean, right now, we're going to start putting it out there for you. A lot of people, it could be salary cap casualties. You know, we're going to start seeing people that could be re-signed. I mean, man, we only 28 days away from the negotiation window, right?
It's going to be crazy. It is every year.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we gained 10,000 followers last year in the first week of free agent negotiations, right?
It kept me busy.
Yeah, very, very. It's going to be very like fire. There are a lot of good defensive ends out there too. We was talking about Matthew Judon, not only with Josh Sweat. Matthew Judon. A lot of people says, hey, would he be a fit for Baltimore going back to the Ravens? Would he be a fit going to Mike Vrabel with the Patriots?
Think about Trey Hendrickson as well if he doesn't get re-signed.
Yep. So Trey Hendrickson has the best tradable contract of anybody in the all season. If you look at his contract, if you trade him, you literally gain like $14 million in cap space. Right?
Wow.
So I would say the Colts will definitely be a player for him if he does not re-sign with the Bengals, because the Colts have his old DC sitting there in the wings. Hey, just like Ace said, Stafford to Pittsburgh, I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm not going to lie. Stafford is that type of guy that reminds you he's gritty. He's a Detroit guy. And now you're talking about him going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, a gritty town. You know what I mean? Like, I could see Stafford being a good fit there. And
I'm starting to think, though, I think their offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, holds him back, dude. I just don't think he's good.
Yeah, he's not so big on Russell Wilson. We've heard that. And Russell Wilson, something we broke earlier about a week ago, I think, or something like that, that Russell Wilson wouldn't be returning next year. And, you know, he's going to probably be looking at options. His biggest options are the Giants and the Raiders, really, from the way I see it. But looking at that, you know, this is an interesting thing. What if something happens in the next few days? Matthew Stafford gets traded to the Steelers, and he wants his buddy Cooper Kupp with Pittsburgh, right? I think
didn't they try to trade for him during the season?
Right, Cooper Kupp. The Steelers tried to trade for Cooper Kupp. Now, the biggest bet and favorite and the biggest link he has, though, is to the Detroit Lions, because I want to tell you why that could possibly happen. Number one, you got the GM, right? That was there with the Rams with them. Number two, you got Jared Goff, right? There with them. Number three, Detroit is on the upswing to win, right? So I think with those 3 points, that Cooper Kupp makes a ton of sense to the Lions.
My hot take is I think the Lions take a step back.
You think that's what? You think the Lions are taking a step back?
They lost both coordinators. They've got a lot of free agents. A lot of the free agents they have can be replaced, but I mean, I think they take a step back. Losing coordinators is a bigger hit than you think.
Big shout out to Football Forever on Instagram. I seen this on their account today. Carlton Davis. I seen that where he. I don't think Football Forever did it. He was retweeting that Pro Football Focus, but that Carlton Davis could end up like being on the move to a team that was looking for a cornerback, like San Francisco or a team
Yep.
like that. I'm hearing a lot of rumors, Tanner, as well. Is reason I'm linking a lot of these corners to San Fran is because their number one corner is a free agent, Travarius Ward, right? So
Yep.
Ward is being linked to the Bills early on.
I could
So
see that as a fit.
yep, definitely. I think that, and from what I heard, and prayers up to him, he lost his little baby right in the season
Yes,
this
I
year,
remember.
and him and his wife had another baby, which is amazing. But I think, from what I read from the commentary, that he wants to play on the East Coast or an Eastern area. That maybe not exactly the East Coast, but an East area that in that range, right, instead of the West Coast. So the Buffalo Bills make a lot of sense. A lot of these teams up north can make some sense, or in that Eastern area that looking for a good corner.
Yeah, because he was wanting to get out of there, I think.
Right. And he did
Said
really
something.
well for the Niners, right? He did really well playing for him. He did a good job. The Falcons, man, that Kirk Cousins contract looks ridiculous right now.
It was ridiculous when they signed him to it.
Yeah, and the reason it looks ridiculous this year is because they're going to pay him all that money, and somebody else is going to give him a minimum little deal, right?
Congrats to Kirk Cousins, though, and his agent for a tremendous career on making bank.
Bro, I am going to tweet this out. I'm going to add all this together tonight, and I'm going to tweet this out, and I'm going to tag you, Tanner, right? And we're going to put out how much Kirk Cousins has made in the NFL so far. And I'm gonna do the math, right? And we're gonna put it all out. And it's a lot because his contract for Atlanta is guaranteed. Like that is guaranteed already. It's like sort of like a Deshaun Watson type of situation. And that's the worst contract maybe in pro sports history. You know what I mean? Deshaun Watson, I think if I'm not mistaken, I could be corrected here, but I think he's got 80 million guaranteed this year.
That was a ridiculous contract too at the time, and then it's just looked worse and worse and worse. So, like, do you even think he's on? Did they say he's going to be on the team this next season?
Watson.
Yeah.
So Deshaun Watson, they redid his contract. He'll definitely be on the team, but all the rumors that surround him that he's not going to be ready. And if he is going to be ready, it's going to be the last 4 games of the season.
He retore his Achilles, and then there's a whole scandal about him being out of his boot when he wasn't supposed to be. Like filming TikToks.
Yeah, so Deshaun Watson, they think that the last 4 games is what I heard today is the newest version of that. Is like 4 games, like that's a big miss, right? And would they take a chance on even putting them out there? Likely they're not even going to put them out there for those 4 games, right? Because of insurance clauses and things of that nature. That just will put the Browns in harm's way. Next year, though, I will tell you this. Next year, his contract is very tradable or very releasable if you look at next year's contract with them.
Which is a reason they've thought about just keeping him one more year, and he's going to be on the bench.
Honestly, listen, they'd redone his contract. You already made a mistake. Admit your mistake. You made a bad one. Let him not play this year. Let him get healthy, and he can go somewhere else. And you release and say, "Hey, I made a mistake. Let me not get that back. I just made a mistake. I got to fess up to it." That's what it looks like. And, I think Kirk Cousins is a really good option for there. I know Jameis Winston, at times played really good, but I think, they kind of did Jameis a little wrong there at the end of the season.
They did.
Because instead of just letting him finish the season, which I think that would have been the best option, they moved some quarterbacks around, and all that stuff. But Jameis Winston likely will land with the team. And maybe he could make even more money in a media deal. Possibly.
Yeah. And then I say, saw reports, even after he's done playing, ESPN may want Jameis Winston because of his personality.
Oh yeah, there'll be a fight over him. Like Peter Schrager, who follows the account, much love Pete.
Yeah.
He said that he's the next big media superstar.
Probably. Everyone loves him.
Yeah, and he works there with Fox, and he knows Jameis and worked with him around the Super Bowl, so he knows what he can bring. And you could just watch the videos and know that what Jameis can do, my man. And he was like, really, I think he's going to be a really, really big concept right there with everything. But yeah, man, I think free agency going to be hot and heavy. Can't wait. Najee Harris, let's bring that one up real quick. Najee Harris, Steelers said no to, right? Didn't want to extend him at the time. Didn't want to give him that option. There's a lot of rumors out there that the Chargers could be interested, the Raiders could be interested in Najee, the Bears could be interested in Najee, but the Bears also have a lot of rumors right now around Gente, the draft pick.
At Boise State.
Yep, out Boise State. But he said he wanted to play with Dallas, was his dream team to play with. But he's mentioned recently the Bears as a team. He'll definitely be a top 10 pick. I've heard multiple scouts say that he's not getting out of the top 10.
Yeah, I do want to go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Jay.
I was gonna say, as we transition, we got to start wrapping up the podcast. Well, boy, I forgot what I was going to say now that I read this comment, Cousins to the Jets bucket. I literally forgot what I was going to say. It was important, though. You were talking about something, and it was Najee Harris. It was Najee Harris.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about, okay, this is what it was. I was thinking about running backs, and I wanted to transition to this thing I saw from James Cook of the Bills. He wants $15 million a year on an extension.
A lot of cheddar.
Yeah, he hosted a live stream on Instagram, pinned his own comment. He commented, pinned it, and it was $15 million / per year or something like that. And that's a reach because even Saquon didn't get that.
Yeah, and I think he's basing that money, from what I read, on Christian McCaffrey. That's what you're looking at. Now, Christian McCaffrey, I mean, James Cook is very talented, not taken away from him, Georgia boy. Right, but Christian McCaffrey is like a different breed. He had some injuries last year. Christian did, but Christian McCaffrey is a different breed. Is James Cook that guy? We'll have to wait and see. But this is the last year of his contract, like you mentioned, so it'll be very interesting. One little tidbit here as we get ready, as we're close to closing, is Kyle Pitts. Atlanta decided that they didn't want to give him the option for another year.
Yep.
And if Kyle Pitts desires to get a long-term deal with the team and not want to play on that last year, you could look. They could be a possibility where he might request a trade. One of the teams that I heard him rumored to, if that was to happen, would be the Bengals, and that would be huge. If the Bengals was to get a guy like him with Joe Burrow, I think that would be so huge to get a guy like that. And actually, it would take that production off T. Higgins some, right? If they lose T. Higgins, it will let Kyle Pitts add to that production that they got.
And Mike Gesicki will probably be gone.
Right, like Gesicki, that's a good option too. They could bring Gesicki back if they can sign T. Higgins. I think it could roll that way. Let's just say Pitts is available. They go and get Pitts. They lose Higgins. They got Jamar Chase in there. They add another wide receiver to the mix. One of those teams, a good wide receiver or draft one, and you got there. And maybe one last thing, talk about the Bengals. Jermaine Burton, who had one of the best preseason seasons ever, was doing great, but hearing he's got evicted twice. Hate to hear that, but
yeah, he's having some off the field issues.
Yep, yeah, and he was actually really great in the preseason. Everybody was like, "Hey, T. Higgins who?"
Yeah, well, sadly, he's right here. Cincinnati doesn't tend to throw to the tight ends, and if they do, it's like the second or third string guy. Because I had Mike Gesicki in fantasy, and they just Mike Gesicki's so talented, and they just kind of would throw it to Tanner Hudson. And I love Tanner Hudson, don't get me wrong, but it's no one's starting him in fantasy. I don't think he's your top tier tight end there.
Would you all draft Christian McCaffrey #1 this year? Now?
No way. I stay away from him. Always have, always will.
Saquon Barkley, easy. We'll just make the prediction. #1 pick in majority of fantasy leagues. Easy.
I did not see him having the season he did. Usually, since Shady McCoy left the Eagles, they haven't really had that true bell cow running back. They've tried, but it didn't really work out. Saquon is that, and he's surpassed my expectations there in Philly.
Hey, I got one last tidbit for you, man. I've saved it just for you, Tanner. So A.J. Brown, somebody I've been talking, got a lot of heat, right? Talked about A.J. Brown not coming back to Philly. Everybody's like, no, you're wrong. NFLRums, you're wrong. You know what I mean? The A.J. Brown is always going to be in Philly now. Well, today, A.J. Brown said it was great winning the Super Bowl, right? But he is more motivated being the number one option and getting the balls on the line to him. Right? So it's saying, yes, the Super Bowl ring is very important to him. He's never won one. But he likes being the focal point of attention, getting the ball, going against those top level corners. So I want to rewind back a little bit. Mike Vrabel, at his press conference, they talked about the A.J. Brown trade, what led him out of Tennessee, how he was frustrated. Mike Vrabel, and like a lot of coaches, he wears his emotions on his sleeve, which I respect. He did not say, they said, is A.J. Brown a possibility in all season to come to New England? He said, we will look into that. Right?
I saw that, but I think it's a waste of talent if you send him to New England
for Drake May. But I think you can look at A.J. Brown literally, and I know the Eagles fans, much respect to everything they did with Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, Saquon. I mean, amazing team. But when you look at that, you can look on A.J. Brown on the sideline this last year. He had a lot of frustrating moments. He loved Nick Sirianni, loved him great when he was getting the ball, but he had a lot of frustrating moments where he wasn't getting the ball through to him.
Yeah, but my point is, if he goes to New England, it's not a pass-heavy system, especially under Vrabel. I know they work together in Tennessee, but it's just not a pass-happy system.
I got a question for you because you're the Arkansas insider, man. This dude does everything Arkansas. What about your guy that was drafted by the Titans? Or do you think he'll look for a change this season?
Traylon Burks, I see them moving on. I would have to see his contract. I forget if he's heading in. I think he's heading into the final year of his rookie deal. So this next season, I believe, is his final.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of rumors about he getting a fresh start or the team.
Yeah, he's going to get one. He's going to be
a fresh start. So Traylon Burks, let's see, Traylon Burks.
So much potential, and I think I'm just not sure. He's a big-bodied guy. He really is. I just don't know really who'd have interest. I could see maybe the Chargers just because they kind of need that, that guy. Maybe opposite of McConkey, depending on who. Yeah, and Josh Palmer is all right. I just don't see him.
Yeah,
I don't know.
One of the moves that Cincinnati could make back because they didn't burn that bridge, or the Steelers, mark this one down, my man, is one that moves back is nobody that the Titans signed Tyler Boyd last year, and he was really misused. Right? He's definitely an option for the Bengals or the Steelers. He didn't burn no bridges with the Bengals, and if they move on from T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, I think it's somebody they will welcome back. And then you also could look, and him being a free agent, you could also look Steelers. Every one of his charities, Tanner's in Pittsburgh. Every one of his Tanners, really? They just really couldn't get a contract together. They couldn't get a contract that satisfied him. So I look for those two teams to be really interested in him. Definitely.
I like that point.
Yep.
All right, you guys, we got to wrap up the podcast. Tons of rumors, tons to get into. Tell us your favorite hot take of the night, hot take or absolutely correct predictions, because a lot of these actually come true. But we have it all here at the NFL Rumors podcast. We're going to be coming at you guys every week this offseason with the latest news, transactions, rumors, free agencies. Guys, we got it. Everything, okay? We've got some new stuff coming out next week, hopefully some guests. And I wanted to shout out, I think we forgot to mention it, but Calvin Taylor was supposed to be on tonight, but we have to reschedule. So hopefully he had some stuff. He got caught up in some stuff. But we'll get him on eventually. But guys, we just want to thank you so much. We have almost 3,000 people watching right now.
Yeah, I really appreciate you all for coming in. Definitely give us a follow. Give us a follow on Instagram. Give us a follow on Twitter. Give Tanner a follow as well out there. He's making really great content. And you look at, some of the really good takes that he has. He's like a really good Green Bay guy. If you like your Packers news,
love the Packers, baby.
Yep. So he's really good there to get your Packers news for you. We really appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you for your support. Make sure you got your notifications turned on as we get ready to off season in the hotbed. We just really appreciate everybody. We couldn't do it without you. We thank you. We hope you have like such a blessed week, and definitely tune in to all these rumors. We're going to be pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. So tune in, and we appreciate everybody, and thank you for choosing the podcast. Thank you for choosing NFL Rumors as your source of news. We appreciate you all.
And if you guys are just joining and want to catch the rest of the podcast, you can go and check us out on all your podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube Music, I think we're on now. I don't even know. But all the podcast platforms, we're on it, you guys. Just search NFL Rumors, Google NFL Rumors. Our podcast should pop up. Thank you so much for all the support. Can't thank you guys enough, really. And we're excited to get back into this offseason, and we're looking to grow and build connections, friends, and relationships along the way. So make sure you guys go and subscribe to us on whatever podcast platform you listen to. Subscribe to the YouTube channels and follow us both on Twitter. And guys, we just want to say thank you here from NFL Rumors, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye, guys. Appreciate it.